I've had a lot of Kirby on my brain, and I've kind of realized that I don't really know a lot about this franchise. I know there's basically like 30 games over the last 25 years, but it's one of the Nintendo franchises I know the least about. So I'm going to kind of break down the franchise in this video and talk about every single Kirby game Nintendo and HAL Labs ever made. Am I a Kirby tuber now? No! Hey, before we get into this video, I do need to mention that Kirby's is really interesting character. I mean, he has a lot of mainline stories, but he basically has, for every mainline, about 2 spin-offs. And it's kind of like whenever Nintendo had like a weird idea for a game, they're like, let's just put Kirby in it. So you'll see in this list, there's a lot of mainline adventure games, but then there's so many like creative outside the box, just like weird games too. So it's kind of interesting and fun to kind of look at all this stuff. And guys, one more thing, if you are new to the channel, definitely think about subscribing, getting close to 1,600 subs, and as a small channel like mine, every sub, every like really means a lot. So without any further ado, let's take a look at this pink puff ball himself, Kirby. Let's go! Kirby got his start at Kirby's Dream Land in 1992. In this Game Boy exclusive, Kirby was basically just a 2D platformer. He didn't even have his signature copy ability yet. Another interesting fact that on the box art, Kirby is white and not pink. Obviously, there was no color pink on the Game Boy, so that's probably why they made Kirby white in this game. But this is a really solid Game Boy game that I used to play back in the day. I think you could beat it in less than an hour. In 1993, Kirby took his talents to the NES, and this was a great, beautiful game. And I'm not just talking kind of beautiful, this game is gorgeous. Kirby was finally pink in this game, and he has his signature copy ability where he can not only eat you, but then steal your powers and use them against you. This game was just like very, very creative and awesome, and a really great transition from Game Boy to the NES. In 1993, we also got Kirby's Pinball Land on the NES, and it's very self-explanatory, but they basically shrank Kirby down, turned him into a pinball game. This game is pretty freaking basics, and I played it, but, you know, I wouldn't recommend it that much, but it is interesting that they turned Kirby into pinball. What's another character they returned into pinball? In 1994, Nintendo turned Kirby into Kirby's Dream Course. I mean, this sounds like a really cool game, but when you really look at it, it's just a miniature golf simulator with Kirby. Granted, this is kind of different than anything else we've really seen. I played this game a few times and it's okay, but there's much better mini golf simulators today. But it's kind of just interesting that this early, back even in 1994, Nintendo is really trying to be creative with this franchise. In 1994, we also got Kirby's Avalanche, and this was another puzzle game, very similar to Pooey Pooey Tetris. Nope, just Pooey Pooey. Am I saying that right? Pooey Pooey. Well, you know, it's just a simple, like, match it block game. Came to 1995 till we finally got the sequel to Kirby's Dream Land on the Game Boy. And this one, Kirby was able to actually bring in some of his animal friends into the game and really just expand on the gameplay. Later that same year, Kirby's Block Ball was released. And this is just a block breaker with a Kirby skin. Granted, I love block breaking games, and adding Kirby to it just makes it a little more fun. But it's just awesome to see all these different Kirby games so early on. Kirby would finally take the jump to the Super Nintendo in 1996 with Kirby Superstar, and this was another really creative game. There were actually about 8 mini games put into this one collection, and they weren't just mini games. A lot of them were really mainline stories. Even one of them was a remake of Kirby's Dream Land. So you got a remake of Kirby's Dream Land plus 7 other games packed into this collection. When I was a kid, I used to play this over and over and over again. It was so much fun. In 1997, Kirby's Star Stack was released, and this was just another puzzle game. It's like a match 4 type game. I'm not sure if it sold that well or people were really interested in this one. I know I wasn't, but you know, Kirby is getting a lot of love in the 90s, and that continues even more in 1997 with Kirby's Dream Land 3. And this was Kirby's big single adventure debut on the Super Nintendo, and it was really beautiful. This is one of the last games to even come out on the Super Nintendo, and it really shows. The graphics are great, the gameplay is original, there's a lot going on, there's more animal friends you can play with, there's more copy abilities, there's just more Kirby for everything. We're really going to see a trend of Nintendo releasing Kirby games towards the end of one of their system's life cycles, but it really shows in this game with the graphics and the gameplay. In 1998, Kirby only got one game, and it was a remake of Star Stacker, and that was Super Star Stacker on the Super Nintendo. There was no Kirby game in the year 1999, and we would have to wait all the way to the year 2000 for the next Kirby game, and that's Kirby 64, The Crystal Shards. And this is Kirby's first, jump into 3D, or, 2.5D. You saw Mario and Zelda get those big, beautiful 3D games, and Kirby, he got his 2.5 game, and people really like this game. Well, some people do, other people think it's just okay, but they really introduced the copy ability, but you're actually able to combine two copy abilities, so there's a lot of variety and a lot of different ways to play this game. Kirby Tilt and Tumble came out on the Game Boy Color that same year, and this was another little spin-off game, a little different, still a Kirby game. There's actually tilt controls built into the game, so you would actually have to go left or right. This is really the early motion controls. So if you want to know where motion controls really started, you could blame Kirby. In 2002, Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland came out, and this was actually a remake of Kirby's Dream Land original, but with updated graphics and just, expanded gameplay. This was such a great remake. Kirby has actually made a bunch of remakes, and, they just take what they couldn't do before, add a bunch of graphics, add some gameplay, and just, make it better. And what a great name. Dreamland is a great title for, a franchise, but a Nightmare in Dreamland, it just kind of adds that oomph to it. It makes it a little bit more exciting. Kirby Air Ride was a great GameCube game. It was one of the only racers that really Nintendo came out with in that area. I mean, it was kind of a little easy, the controls, but people really love it, and it's become kind of a cult classic. What's interesting about this game that sets it apart from other racers, Kirby's just going and you press a button for brakes. But other racers, the car just doesn't move, you have to press the gas. That just makes it a little bit different, but this unique racer, I'm really surprised never got a sequel. It doesn't get more love today. In 2004, Kirby and the Amazing Mirror came out, and this is another 2D adventure. This game's a little different. There are 4 other Kirbys you could choose from and bring into your adventure at any time. This is not one of my favorite Kirby games ever. The, level design is just a little basic. If you're looking for something really experimental, look no further than Kirby and the Canvas Curse in 2005. Nintendo really tried to do something different, and instead of controlling Kirby here, you control these ropes and kind of make Kirby go through the courses. Really fun and interesting game, and fun enough that, Nintendo would try this again on better hardware in just a few years. In 2006, Kirby Squeak Squad came out, and this is just another 2D platformer. This one kind of just blends into the rest of the games in this generation of Kirby. There's not a whole lot to say. We would have to wait 2 more years to 2008 till we got Kirby Superstar Ultra, and this is obviously a remake of Kirby Superstars. This one came out on the Game Boy DS, and it was just a really fun remake. Just added all those bells and whistles that we, wish we could have had back in the day, and just makes it look really sharp. There would be no game in 2009, and then Kirby would finally take his talents to the Wii in 2010 with Kirby's Epic Yarn. And this is another one of those very experimental games that was just perfect for Kirby. I mean, Kirby was basically turned into some yarn and had to go through the world using yarn as a whip and turning into different vehicles. Not very much like a Kirby game. This really reminds me more of a Yoshi game, but they decided to put Kirby in it. Great looking game and really fun. 2011 was a really big year for Kirby. We got 2 mainline entries. The first one was for the DS, and that was Kirby Mass Attack. And you could actually have up to 100 Kirbys on the screen, helping you with your adventure. This game actually gives me a lot of Pikmin vibes, just how you need like a certain amount of Kirbys to complete certain goals, like pulling something out of the ground or beating a certain enemy. Very creative game, and just amazing there will be so many models and sprites on the screen at once. And if you were waiting and waiting for Kirby to really make that mainline AAA jump, Kirby and Return to Dreamland did it. This is another 3D adventure, or 2.5D, not really 3D, but there's a lot of depth in the background. Great journey from Kirby. There's great bad guys in it, there's great capture abilities, just a really fun game and looks really sharp. If you're waiting for a modern Kirby game back in 2011, this was the game you were waiting for. In 2012, we got Kirby's Dream Collection. This included a bunch of different Kirby games. Included the whole Dreamland trilogy, we got the Nintendo 64 game, and a few other games. So if you were waiting for a bunch of Kirby games or hadn't played any Kirby games, this is a great collection. It was also to celebrate Kirby's 20th anniversary. In 2014, we got Kirby Triple Deluxe, and this was Kirby's first adventure on the 3DS. Just a great 2D adventure. For me personally, this one kind of just blends in with a lot of the other just basic 2D Kirby games, but a quality game nonetheless. It's going to be a few more years till we get a really adventurous, new type of Kirby game. We also got Kirby Fighters Deluxe. This was just a brawler. I'm not really into these Kirby brawlers, and there's a bunch of them in the last few years, so I'm going to talk about those pretty quickly. In 2015, Kirby was finally on the Wii U with Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. This was the full realization of Kirby and the Canvas Curse, but kind of made HD and just brought to, modern day graphics. I really love the clay look of this game and just how unique it looks to basically every other game, we've ever seen. It looks really cool and it's fun to play with. A lot of people really like this game, but there's a huge part of the Kirby audience and just Nintendo fans in general that don't like the gameplay. Each their own. What can you say? Next up is one of the most popular Kirby games ever. It came out in 2016, and that's Kirby Planet Robobot. You never would think that Kirby on his adventure would find robot mechs and use them for his adventure, but that's exactly what happened in this 3DS title. It's just a really fun adventure. There's a lot of different gameplay types, and just really, really fun. In 2017, we got a bunch of Kirby fighting games. We got Team Kirby Clash Deluxe, Kirby Blowout Blast, and Kirby Battle Royale. I haven't played any of these games. I know they're all fighting games on different systems, and if you're into, Kirby Brawlers, 2017 was your year. In 2018, Kirby made his way to the Nintendo Switch with a disappointment. I don't know what to say about this game. I played it. It was just super easy and basic. The gameplay mechanic in this one is Kirby has a bunch of friends. You could turn your enemies into your friends. So Kirby and his 3 friends go along this adventure together. But, his friends get too involved in the action and just makes it too simple. Granted, this game looks very, very good. For a younger player, this game might be right up your alley, that you're not looking for that much challenge. There are some interesting puzzles and some cool bosses, but for me, just a little too easy. In 2019, at the very end of the 3DS, Nintendo decided to make, an HD port of Kirby Epic Yarn. If you were into Epic Yarn back in the day and you wanted to play it on your 3DS, you could pick up Epic Yarn. I think there's some new levels included in this game. Not really sure why it wasn't brought over to the Switch, but that's not for me to say. 2020 was pretty bare as well with Kirby Fighters 2. This game was actually leaked onto the internet, and then later that day Kirby just released it. This game came and went like the wind, and I was like, where is going on with this game? I barely even knew anything about it, and now it's gone. What the heck? But, I'm really curious. What do you guys think of this timeline of all these Kirby games? Did you play a lot of them? Did you miss a lot of them? Are you going to go back and play some? Let me know right down in the comment section down below, and I'll be sure to get back to you. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. It was super fun to make. If you want to hear of history or timelines of other franchises that you love, let me know and maybe I'll turn this into a full-blown series. Guys, thanks again for watching this video so much. You know, like I said before, definitely think about subscribing. I also have a Patreon. If you feel like being generous and supporting the channel for $1 a month, you get your name at the end of all of my videos. Again, you can find information for that down below. Guys, I am Turbo Jesse. I'll see you on the flip side.